Welcome to Sinful's Horror Stories. I want to welcome all of our new subscribers that came from Mortis Media's collab. I hope you guys enjoy what my channel's all about. Sit back, relax, stay sinful. This story happened to me about a month ago. My name is Rick and I'm 25 years old. I was out late one night around 2 a.m. after attending a party at a friend's house. I didn't have much to eat and I was feeling pretty hungry. I would be passing by a McDonald's on the way home, so I decided to stop and grab some food. The McDonald's is located near a shopping center, so the car park in the area was very large. I went through the drive-thru, got my order, and parked somewhere in the car park to eat. After about 5 minutes, a car then slowly parked right behind me. I thought it was strange as this was a massive car park, and the driver had chose to park right where I was. I looked in the rearview mirror and I could see about 4 men in the car, with hoods up and baseball caps on. I tried not to pay much attention and just focused on eating. One of the men then got out of the car, walked over to my door, and immediately tried to open it, but thank God it was locked. After failing on opening the door, he tapped on my window saying, "Hey man, we need your help with something." I just looked at him with confusion and said, obnoxiously speaking through the window, as there was no way I was undoing it for him. I asked, "What's the matter?" His reply was, "Just come outside and we'll show you." I took another glance at the rearview mirror, and I could see the rest of the men just staring intensely at me. Obviously, a load of red flags were going off. I said to the man, "No, sorry, I was just leaving." He then lifted up his top to show he was carrying some kind of handgun, and he told me, "Nah, you're gonna help us," whilst grinning at me like a crazy lunatic. The rest of the men then stepped out of the car. I then started my car and quickly slammed on the gas. I could see that the men instantly got back in their car and started to chase after me. Thankfully, the head start I got was enough to lose them. It's pretty obvious that these men had no good intentions and were definitely out to harm me. Story number 2. My name is June and I'm 22 years old. This story happened to me when I was 19 and worked at McDonald's. I used to work the night shift and I didn't mind it, as it was mostly quiet and overall just easy work. One night I was behind the cash register when what appeared to be a homeless man came in the store. You could tell he was homeless by the way he was dressed and the way he smelled. He was wearing a dirty old ripped leather coat, blue damp jeans, and he had on about 4 pairs of socks with holes in them. He had long greasy hair that was slicked back and a poorly shaven face. When he approached me, he didn't even make eye contact. He was constantly staring at the menus behind me. I said, "Hello, how can we help you?" Unsurprisingly, I didn't get a response. I just thought, okay, I'm going to just let him look and tell me what he wants. He must have been staring at the menu for like 3 minutes. It was like he wasn't even choosing what he wanted. He was just completely zoning out in another world of his own. I could see my other colleague Samantha watching me while she was sweeping, just as confused as I was. I spoke out again and said, "Sir." I was abruptly interrupted when he said, "Burger," with a slightly raised voice. But before I could ask him if he would like anything else, he just walked off. I looked over to Samantha with my arms raised up in a gesture of confusion. She then walked over to me and just said she saw him head towards the bathroom. I then just requested a plain burger from the kitchen and just waited for him to come out. The burger was done and wrapped up for him, but he still hadn't come back. I set the burger aside and waited. I spent some time talking to Samantha about stuff nothing important, just idle chit-chat. She said she needed to use the bathroom, which reminded me. Then I looked at the time and saw that the homeless man was in the bathroom for nearly 35 minutes. I decided to check out where this man was. I slightly opened the men's toilet door and said, "Sir, is everything okay?" There was no response. I spoke out again, saying, "Sir, your food is ready." Once again, nothing. I then thought I would take a little look around, and to my surprise, the bathroom was empty. All the stalls were empty. I don't understand where he went. We didn't see him leave. Just as I was thinking in confusion, I heard a scream coming from the ladies' restroom. I instantly ran in there to see what was happening, and I saw with horror the homeless man grabbing Samantha's leg from under the gap of the stall. I gasped. He turned to me, and I will never forget his face. He had the biggest grin I'd ever seen in my life, with big bulging eyes. He ran up to me to try to wrestle me to the ground, still with a massive grin on his face. I don't know why, but I don't question it. For some reason, he let me go and ran into the night. Thankfully, Samantha and I were okay. We told the police what happened, but unfortunately, from what I know at least, the man was never found. I quit working there 2 weeks later. Story number 3. This story happened last week. My name is Mike and I'm 36 years old. I was driving home late one night after having a very long, dragged-out meeting at my work. I wanted to stop at McDonald's to get a bit of supper and a milkshake. As it was quite late, there wasn't anyone around. I pulled into the drive-thru and there was a girl who I gave my order to. I don't know what it was, but she seemed kind of distracted. It looked as if she was really forcing a smile and was sweating profusely. She kept saying, "Please, sir, let me know if you need anything else. I would be happy to help again," with a forced smile. I was thinking to myself it was quite odd, but I thought she was just being overly polite. After I got my order, I said thank you, while grabbing the bag of food. She didn't let it go for a few seconds. It was almost as if I had to pull it away from her grasp, still giving me an uncanny smile. I drove off down the street and I suddenly stopped my car. I was just getting this weird gut feeling that something wasn't right. I decided to turn around and go back to the McDonald's. I thought to myself, I'm just probably overthinking, but I wanted to check if everything was okay. I parked and headed inside the McDonald's. When I got to the cash registers, there was no one there. I waited a few minutes and still couldn't see anyone. Then I saw in the back of the kitchen the same girl who had served me earlier. She was just staring at me, this time with no smile whatsoever, more of a terrified expression. I was expecting her to walk to the cash register, but she didn't. I kept looking at her confused. Then I saw a large knife pressed up against her throat, and a man drag her to where I could no longer see what was happening. Witnessing this shocked me to my core. I quickly got my phone out and called the police and told them what I saw. I snuck into the disabled toilets and hid. The police finally arrived and checked the building. I eventually found out that a man had come in and taken the staff hostage with a knife. There were only 3 members at work, so it wasn't that difficult. I told them about the girl that served me and how off she seemed, and asked him how she was. The police then said the girl is missing. It was last seen by her colleagues, being dragged out through the back of McDonald's by knife point. It's only been a week, but she's still missing. Something tells me she won't be found either. Story number 4. I'm pretty sure the devil came into my store. This only happened to me a few hours ago. First, something about me in my town. I work at a McDonald's in a small town on the border of Ohio and Indiana. It's a Christian community and everyone is pretty friendly, though we do have a lot of rednecks and some are pretty racist. Anyways, I was working up front when several customers walked in. One of them stuck out to me. He was cute to say the least. Short, curly hair, tall and built nicely, but not buff. And his eyes, they were dark, almost black in a way. He was wearing a black ripped-up skinny jeans, a button-up black shirt, a flannel shirt, and a leather jacket. Like I said, cute. I was checking him out while I was ringing up other customers. He was my last one in line, but the closer he got to me, the more something felt off. I shrugged it off as I helped him out. I remembered what he ordered too. A large drink and 2 onions, mustard or pickles, McDoubles. While he was ordering, something hit my nose that made me almost freeze. It was the smell of sulfur. It was strong too. I gave him his total and he pulled out his card and paid. While he was getting his drink, I was getting his order ready. My manager was helping drive through since we were very busy. She's an older woman in her early 50s. Let's call her Carrie. While I was waiting for the guy's food, I told Carrie about my observations of the boy. Now keep in mind the guy and I are about 10 feet away from each other, with a wallish structure in between us. I was whispering as well, but out of the corner of my eye I see his head snap up and look at me, as if he heard me. He glared at me and almost immediately, I felt my head spin and I almost fell. I leaned against the counter for a minute and felt better when he looked away. Carrie took notice in this, but didn't really say anything. I got Guy's food ready and handed it to him, with a cheery voice and a big smile, like I do with the rest of my customers. The entire time he stood there grinning and looking down at me, like he was a dog looking down over a steak. I was so scared all of a sudden, I couldn't move or look away. I watched him leave with his food, and when he was gone, I snapped out of it. I went back to Carrie and told her what happened. Some of my coworkers overheard and are pretty sure the devil came into the store. Carrie warned me he might be after me, and to be very careful. I'm not that religious myself, but I'm pretty sure they're right. I think the devil came into the store that night. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Please be sure to leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe for future content. Email me your true scary stories at thesinfulsavant@gmail.com. I hope everyone's week has gone well. Make sure to comment below for any story or themed ideas for future videos. Until we meet again, stay sinful.